Without further ado, I'm so happy to introduce and welcome our esteemed keynote speaker for today. Go ahead and take it away, Mr. Nettles.
Hello, Elizabeth, and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for that warm and welcoming introduction. I wasn't expecting for my entire bio to be read, but nevertheless, thank you so much for that warm welcome. Again, my name is Archie Nettles, and I'm currently the Assistant Director of Development in the Jindal School of Management. I would like to thank Ms. Brianna Hobbs and Zara and the entire Career Center staff for the invitation to speak to you all today. So today, my focus is on optimizing your careers as it relates to spending time in your as student workers and in internships. So ready, set, lift off, leveraging resources to jumpstart your career. And I'm going to start with basically taking you through my journey on how I got to where I am. And feel free along the way, if you have any questions, to drop those questions in the chat. I'm going to share my screen just real quick. Okay, so I'm going to take you through my personal journey and how I also was able to leverage many of the Career Center's resources as well as the school resources as I transitioned to UT Dallas. So as it was stated, I served in the United States Army, active duty and reserves. I went right out of high school. And during that time, I learned a lot about myself in regards to self-discipline, and I was able to use those skill sets to transition once I got out of the military to college. But along the way, I was met with many obstacles and challenges. It would actually take me nearly 12 years to obtain my undergraduate degree. But that's because I was still in the reserves, and I was encountering many challenges. But what those challenges did for me was prepare me for my future later. So I transitioned from the Army, and then I went in transitioning to UT Dallas. This was back in 2009 when I transitioned to UT Dallas. But in the middle of that, I actually spent time attending 3 different schools. Now, why am I telling you that? Well, it's to simply say that sometimes we can have plans set for ourselves, but life has different plans, and it's important to understand the importance of planning the work and working the plan, but also being flexible and adapting to change. So during that time, I would attend the Prairie View A&M University, Central Texas College in North Texas, and also Brookhaven colleges. All those 3 experiences prepared me when I transitioned to UTD as it relates to being a student. But once I got to UTD, I had experienced a little gap from the last time I was in school. So when I got to UTD, it was in 2009, and I did not know anyone. I could recall feeling like a fish out of water, where I transitioned to the school, and I could just remember starting at the library and spending a lot of time. And at the time, it was the Multicultural Center, which was actually housed in the library. And then I stumbled upon the Career Center, because at the time, they would pass a lot of flyers out. Like, there were flyers on walls, and I got to learn about the Career Center and the resources that were available in the Career Center. And so my first 6 months during my time in my undergrad, I spent learning all the different resources that were available to me, whether that was on campus and the community. I would attend resume writing classes. I would attend personal assessment classes. I would meet with many of the career consultants during that time, and I would attend many of those workshops. I was starting to feel like, well, they would know me by name, and I felt that I was an employee at the time in the Career Center, but nevertheless, that's how much time I spent in the Career Center. But through that time, I was afforded an opportunity of a job in the Multicultural Center, and that's when I was introduced to being a student worker. It was there, I was a multicultural peer advocate, and during that time, I was able to learn a lot about campus resources additionally, but also how to put together events and assist with those events that they were having taken place out of the Multicultural Center. And so that was a very defining time, because at the time I knew I was pursuing a degree in public affairs, but I didn't necessarily know what that would look like as it relates to what a career would be. But all those skills prepared me for what was next. Shortly thereafter, I graduated in 2011. And I'll be honest, I did not have the greatest plan once I graduated. I was looking for various jobs, but shortly thereafter, back in 2013, I would be afforded an opportunity to return back to my alma mater, UTD, and work in the admissions counselor, in the Office of Admissions and Enrollment. It was there that I learned a lot about giving presentations, recruiting students, but all my previous experience prepared me for where my current experience was at the time, working in the Office of Admissions. I already knew a lot of I knew a lot of staff, and actually, along the way, I could recall during my interview process once I got the job, I was told that I had a lot of sponsors as well as individuals who impacted me along the way who were speaking on my behalf. And I'll mention that later in terms of what the importance of sponsorships, of having a sponsor, someone to speak in your absence, or a mentor, someone to help guide you along the way. So I went from being a student worker to now working for UTD in the Office of Admissions and Enrollment. And I would spend about 19 months in that space. And then I would transition and be afforded an opportunity to work in the Student Affairs Division. During that time, I served as the veteran liaison, and I was responsible with just assisting veterans who were transitioning from the military to college with resources and getting access to resources as relates to their military benefits. So whether that was the Montgomery post 9/11 GI Bill, or if that was the Hazelwood Act, or whatever other resources, career-oriented resources that were available to them, I was responsible for assisting those veterans as well as putting on campus events. And as I stated before, every experience that you are encountering at this moment, even being at this great summit, will prepare you for your next. And so throughout that time, I was able to leverage my previous experience in that current role because it called for someone who knew the campus well. Well, I knew the campus because I was a student worker and I was able to navigate the campus. And so I was a resource to those student veterans who had transitioned. Shortly thereafter, I would spend about 3 years in the Military and Veterans Center, and then shortly thereafter, I would starting my master's degree in public affairs. And in that time, I returned back to school to finish my master's. And shortly thereafter, once I completed my master's, I was interested in the world of development, so fundraising, and I was afforded an opportunity to become the inaugural Texas Instrument Founders Leadership Fellow. And in that role, it allowed me to learn a lot about a high functioning fundraising operation. And so I did a rotations over an entire year learning about the Office of Development and Alumni Relations. And again, I was able to use so many previous experiences that prepared me for where I was at that time. And throughout that time, I actually took on two internships and the fellowship. I did another fellowship that was outside of the school, and that was at the North Texas Council of Governments, serving as the public involvement intern. And during that time, I just found myself going to school, working multiple jobs. One was in Arlington, and then one was at UTD, but I needed to make sure that I was able to get my 40-hour work week, because as a grown non-traditional student, I had bills. I'm sure everybody can relate to that. When you have bills, you have to do what it takes to make sure you meet those bills. And so once I spent that time, shortly thereafter, I was still working on my master's degree, and I was afforded the honor of being selected as the commencement speaker for my graduation. And that was like a cherry on top, simply because it was a dream realized, a dream that I always something I saw myself doing, but I didn't necessarily know how to do it. But nevertheless, I applied, and I was able to become the commencement speaker for my master's degree, which I obtained in 2018. Once I completed that fellowship, I then transitioned, and I was afforded the opportunity and offered a job in my current role as Assistant Director of Development, focusing on the Jindal's Young Scholars Program, which is a college readiness program that prepares and prepares students who want to pursue education. And we work with 5 schools in the DISD school district. And so that is what brings me here today. And that was one of the reasons why I was so happy to speak, because I am you, and I went through what many of you are going through now. And when I looked at what the different types of sessions that were being offered, when I looked at rocketing your resume, landing your next internship, blast off on LinkedIn, I thought to myself, wow, this is so great. And to be offered virtually, because I was literally going into a classroom where we had like 45-minute sessions. But I'm glad that you all are taking the opportunity to take advantage of these resources, because that is what's going to propel you and rocket you to your current destination as you matriculate through college. So there are 3 points I would like to make, and they are: begin with an end in mind, plan the work and then work the plan, and then take action. So basically, ready, set, and lift off. Begin with an end in mind. What does that mean? If you desire to be a biologist, if you desire to work in finance, if you desire to become a politician, if you desire to work in any various industry, what I would like to just state is, go out and seek out someone that's in that particular industry and request an informational interview. What I found so fascinating is when you are seeking knowledge and you are a student and you are wanting to find more information about a respective industry or career, people love to talk about themselves. That's just, yes, people love to talk about themselves. So take the time to seek out those individuals. You are living in a time where you have so much power and so much information literally at your fingertips. I can remember the days of calling up individuals, having to set up interviews. Now you can literally go on LinkedIn and craft a nice little message and reach out to various people with the respective industries that you are interested in. So again, begin with an end in mind and work backwards so you can get to that end. Next up would be plan the work and work the plan. And I mentioned this before in terms of, I like to write and I like to write out all my goals. In your current roles and in your positions, and as you may be seeking internships, write out what is it that you would like out of the internship and how to go about it. There are a lot of great resources in the Career Center. There's a lot of great resources online that can help you, and those career consultants can help guide you. And also along the way, if you want to learn more about yourself and your own strengths, I would encourage you to take one of the strengths quests, or one of those type of personal assessments, so you kind of know where your skills lie and you can leverage those skills along the way. So again, plan the work and work the plan. Every opportunity, take advantage of every learning opportunity and growing opportunity. Networking, conducting informational interviews, as I mentioned earlier, and become an asset, or an MVI, most valuable intern. Take advantage of Explore the Wow. I know that was during my time, there was an opportunity to spend a week in an externship through the Career Center. It was called Explore the Wow. I'm not sure what it's called today, but it afforded me an opportunity to go to the DRC at the time, and this was back in 2010, where I was able to job shadow for a week. And I had to sacrifice because it was during the week of spring break. Who wants to use their spring break to go actually work versus going lay on the beach? Well, I knew I had some goals, and so that's when actually I honestly found out about Leadership Dallas. Now, it would take me nearly 10 years later to find myself a part of that program, but nevertheless, that experience right there set me on a path and energized me to want to come back around and be a part of this program that I'm so fortunate to be part of, where I recently graduated in May out of the program. So take advantage of Explore the Wow and whatever resources that may be available. Like right now, I know it can be challenging because we are online, but continue to take advantage of these opportunities and attending these virtual summits. And a lot of the times when it comes to these summits, whether they be within school or even in industry, you can get discounted rates as a student. Leverage your student title at the moment, because you can find many free opportunities or many instances where the cost would be subsidized in some form or fashion. You don't always have to come out your pocket. People just want to see a willingness to learn and just to know that you are being serious about that opportunity. And then next would be take action. Now that you are getting all this information that you've been afforded and all this great knowledge, don't just sit on it. Execute. Now is the time to optimize all your experiences and leverage the resources available to you. Seek out those mentors and sponsors. And if you don't know how, I will actually share my contact information, and you can feel free to reach out to me. I have served as a mentor in many capacities across campus, assisting students, because I'm a firm believer of giving back along the way and pouring into others who come behind me, because someone did that for me. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, if you will, or individuals who've impacted me along the way. And so I encourage you to reach out to to various people who have impacted you, or reach out when there's questions that you want to be answered. Because credentials and outside of seek out mentors and sponsors also ensure you're pursuing additional, if you decide to pursue additional education, now is the time to be doing that research and reaching out to those various schools, because credentials will get you that credibility. And I share with you, I have this poem up. This poem is near and dear to me because it speaks to while you are having all this information given to you and you're taking copious notes, hopefully, the next step is, okay, that taking action, because at the end of the day, you are the master of your fate. You are responsible for the next actions that you take to get to that desired destination that you have. And I'm just going, I think it may be dropped off in the chat, but I just want to recite this poem, and then I'll open it up to questions. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horrors of the shade, and yet the menace of the years find and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am, you are, we are the masters of our fate, the captains of our soul. Your mission, should you choose to accept, is to be the master of your fate. So get ready, get set, get ready to launch, and go forth and do great things. Thank you.